All right. It looks like we are online. We're good to go. Just double check a few things here. Volume's looking good. Okay. All right. So good morning, everybody. Welcome to Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared, and it is, June 9th, 2022. As y'all saw yesterday, I wasn't feeling too well, so I appreciate all the well wishes. Glad to be back. And let's take a look at what the market has for us today. It's obviously Thursday in the week. So because I missed yesterday, we're going to look at the expected move for the S&Ps. Keep in mind, we haven't really moved too much overall in the broad market. And that leaves our expected move still allocated at 4210 top side and about 4008 downside. So about 101 point expected move based on Friday's close. Market really hasn't given us either or. And we've stayed relatively range bound throughout most of the week. If you recall, on Monday, I discussed this exact concept, the idea that the market doesn't really have a lot of reason to move, and therefore the likelihood of remaining in balance was actually quite high. Another thing that's kind of indicative of remaining in balance, usually when you get a large imbalance type move, something like a trend, or the market is basically searching for new pricing value, often when you get that capitulation, that last wave of buying or selling, and then a stabilization of price, the stabilization portion is the part that's one of the more challenging to trade. Usually you get less volatility. You don't necessarily have a clear directional bias in the market. Usually it's indicative that the market's kind of catching up with itself. Keep in mind the S&Ps did sell off for a period of a couple of months. We were in a very clear downtrend on a lot of time frames. And as we bottomed out, that range forming and the balance thereafter is usually the next phase for the market as we start to reassess whether we're going to continue our downward march or if we're simply waiting for a new catalyst to do some additional repricing. Another thing to kind of remember, when inside these trading ranges, there's almost always a volume profile, VPOC specifically, something that the market tends to gravitate towards. And while it's not necessarily true that you're going to play every single trade towards this particular price, you often want to be careful when the market is trying to move away from it. Typically, the moves away from it are limited. They usually have some sort of exhaustive quality to it, and the market is very likely to, at some point, return to that start point, that VPOC zone. Earlier this week, it was about 411.50. It's since then changed slightly to about 412. Not really too different overall, but this center area of the range has been respected for a long time in the S&P so far. You can simply draw a price level here and you can see the type of relative respect that the market has to this price. Lots of either choppy price action, some inflections occurring, and really just a cut through of a lot of lows and highs. Usually the market will return to this area before staging a rally or a decline. And one thing that's really important to do when in this zone is really not to get too aggressive. A lot of people will kind of switch gears in a range and decide to become more of a premium seller in the market. You'll usually get people selling premium near or at these range prices, iron condors, straddles and strangles, whatever your flavor of premium selling is. And the idea is pretty simple. It's very easily to tell whether you're going to stay within or simply move back inside this area. Usually the market will require some sort of gap out. So getting a overnight session where we actually open outside this range, or we need a session where the market moves to these ranges, consolidates, and then tries to get outside. Usually that can provide enough pressure to expand the range. So, couple things to maybe keep on watch today. We had some pretty exciting price activity in particular China stocks. And I'll mostly just call out some of the big picture levels here. So for a stock like BABA, obviously with yesterday's price activity, let me just take this off. And with the oversold, readings across the board, this market's been pretty much a straight down market for a long time. We're seeing some signs of bottoming. We've obviously got the higher volume low. That's something that occurred a couple of weeks back. We've been in a trading range of some, I would say, compression for a couple of weeks. And then yesterday we had a very powerful move outside of our trend line. This is not necessarily the most accurate trend line, but it's one that has a lot of confluence. And you'll see that more on the weekly as well. Once again, I'm a big proponent of taking your trend line from a very obvious inflection, in this case, the all-time high of BABA, and just moving it down until you start to get some confluence with particular price candles. If you mark the absolute trend line, you're only going to get that one confluence, but if you move it down slightly more, you'll get a couple more connections, with this being just a very mild look above and failure. So very obvious that we're starting to break bullish outside of this trend line. We have a very powerful weekly candle that tried to move away from the 20 period, and that's on the weekly. This is the moving average that's provided weekly resistance since the downtrend started. So another thing to be careful of today, though, even though this was a very strong day yesterday for most of the China related stocks, this is also a weekly gamma squeeze. So BABA specifically was only pricing about a $5 expected move this week. You'll note the midline and then the highs and lows, very similar to what we do in the SPX. And then if you look and see where we topped out yesterday, we're pretty much 4 to 5 times outside of a $5 price move. Now, does that mean that BABA is going to pull back into the expected move? Pretty much no. Usually gamma squeezes like this will hold some of this performance. But what I want to caution is the idea that gamma squeezes are inherently imbalanced activity in the market. So often when you have everybody sort of on one side of the market, it can provide the market makers with an excess of inventory. Remember, during a gamma squeeze, markets are imbalanced due to the market makers having to hedge. Usually they are the ones buying shares of the underlying product, usually because the option market has a lot of call buying or put buying in the case of a put gamma squeeze. Now, it's easy to say that after the fact based on the size of the move, but it's also true that yesterday had a lot of call activity. You'll want to note the size of call transactions here and just the overall size of the option market inside of BABA, about 1 million contracts yesterday. That's pretty high. Additionally, you kind of want to note where those high value nodes sit in this market. And as we were moving, a lot of this became intrinsic. A lot of these calls were basically becoming more and more in the money, which facilitated a lot of market maker activity as they had to continue to hedge delta positions that were becoming essentially close to one. Usually the fuel for this has to continue. So you have people basically loading up inside of each and every strike, or just facilitating a ladder as this starts to begin. But as long as people are essentially holding those positions, excuse me, you can get a lot of a very aggressive price movement in one direction. So obviously yesterday was sort of the day to stay on the side of the trend. That was very obvious with the explosiveness of the move, and even the follow through that we got into the afternoon as we topped out about 121. The thing I want to caution though is if the gamma conditions are starting to end, the market maker can easily start to unwind that inventory. And the way they do that is usually pre-market or during intraday sessions as people start to close their positions. So this can provide some additional volatility. It also is conducive to a lot of whipsaw, because oftentimes the inventory that they're unloading is going to be done in a price agnostic fashion. They really don't care about the directional bias of the underlying. They mostly care about getting their net portfolio to basically to a condition of being neutral. So any news or catalyst that can shake that up, or even just the idea that the market tends to move in this fashion until it's over, you're going to see some pretty wild trade that ends that particular activity. And as you can see, the pre-market inside of BABA, almost untradeable. Obviously being on the right side is advantageous, but it's a very wild trading range. Ultimately that is a lot of price volatility. So be very careful with these stocks today. It's not necessarily just BABA. You look across most of the China related stocks, they were bullish yesterday, but they weren't as bullish as BABA facilitated. A lot of them are breaking outside of their expected move. They're just not to the degree that BABA was. JD, for example, PDD also very strong. And then kind of rounding out the list, Billy and Baidu, which did have pullbacks and aren't necessarily as explosive as BABA was yesterday. So keep all this in mind as you're trading today. It's not to say that these are not candidates for today, but I think they're going to have a lot of whipsaw that's going to potentially get out tighter risk style trades, and potentially also disappoint a lot of trend-based setups. So be very, very wary of that. Some news in regards to renaming. We are on the transition date for Meta platforms to now be identified by the stock ticker META. So as you will see, there is still a FB stock ticker. This is where all of our analysis was done, and obviously any conversation about the name. But we will be transitioning now into META, and eventually they'll kind of coincide this with a removal of the previous price history for stock ticker FB. So I think this will mostly affect brokers who are trying to facilitate orders under the old ticker name. You'll want to maybe look into what your broker is doing for the transition to the new ticker. Usually they'll be able to adjust the order to just have the new ticker name, but you also want to be careful any sort of watch list or triggers that you may have under the old ticker name. Be sure to convert those over in the next couple of days. And as you can see for the S&P as well, we should be starting to see this change as well across the board. So any reference to the old ticker name should be starting to change We haven't seen that quite yet in this tool, but that should be coming in the next couple of sessions. All right. Last but not least, just kind of reiterating some stuff from earlier this week. Volatility still not really showing any relative, I would say, fear or just an expansion of the 30-day volatility as regards to the VIX. Once again, we are at some relative trend lines. So if you're looking to get a little bit of a volatility hedge, this is where some of the volatility products have bottomed recently. And if you're looking for maybe a reaction, this would be about the time to start paying attention for that reaction. If not, this is still obviously fading overall. And if you're looking at volatility acceleration, or whether or not firms are hedging at the moment, the VVIX itself is still at some relatively low readings. We're talking about like lower than some of the past couple years. So right now there really isn't a high desire to hedge in this market. A lot of firms really aren't either doing it or they're not putting a lot of emphasis on it. Otherwise, we would see this much higher, as this showcases whether implied volatility of VIX options is starting to increase. Usually you want to see this either get through some relative levels of interest, or you just want to see a clear trend. And this right here is showcasing that there really isn't a lot of implied volatility expansion in volatility options. So when looking at the VIX, when maybe looking at getting a hedge, for one, keep in mind what the volatility options are representing. Remember that they do represent the vol future pricing, not the VIX pricing. But let's say you're thinking maybe 30 days out, we're going to get a little bit of a volatility event. You can certainly look to what the vol futures are priced at currently. Right now, if I'm looking at maybe 41-day vol futures, about 26.35. And if I go to the VIX, maybe looking about 40 days out to coincide with that particular futures contract, about a 26 right here should have the call put parity. The pricing between calls and puts is about equal. That tells you that you're at the money at around 26.27. And obviously, if you're looking for a little bit of a volatility event, maybe getting some intrinsic premium, you can look to maybe buy some at the money calls like 26.27, or just put on a slight bullish vertical. Something as simple as a in-out type spread where you're maybe buying an intrinsic. A 25 would be in the money for this particular series, and then selling something slightly out of the money. This right here is basically just a $2 wide. It's going to cost you about 70 bucks. But if you need something that has a little bit of exposure, if the VIX were maybe to reclaim roughly in the 30s, or if we got maybe into another backwardation situation in the vol futures, this little bit of a hedge would actually protect your portfolio. And obviously you can size this appropriately based on how much risk you think is coming. So very simple strategy here. Just, you don't have to go all out in regards to a hedge, but having that on will definitely feel good whenever the market is in a decline and volatility is exploding. So with all of that, we're about 10 minutes out from the rest of the session. I'll open it up to any tickers or questions. Otherwise, as you can tell, my voice is not perfect, so I'll be glad to take the extra 10 minutes and take a break. So anyone have anything in the Bear Bull chat room? Look at Tesla, called out by RFG. So let's take a look at our big picture here. So monthly is still kind of struggling. we're looking at still technically in a monthly downtrend. Most of our closes have been above the swing low for the monthly downtrend to trigger. So what you're getting is a monthly downtrend with not a lot of follow through yet. Your weekly downtrend should be pretty clear at this point. We did bounce off of about 620. That coincided with the market bounce. And then as you can see, there's our low and our lower high, which has been established. And really, we just have a lower weekly print as of this week. So right now, Tesla is riding the 20 period on the daily. Not to say that this is a net bearish stock, but I would say that this is where a lot of rejections have occurred. The market tends to make lower lows around these prices. And similar to the S&P, it's trying to reclaim around where the March lows were in the market. So keep a close eye on Tesla, because I would say that this is one of the stocks that could kind of drive the next big move in the market. Ideally seeing this stock a little bit higher would be obviously a net bullish thing for the S&P. Betting on that directionality, I think, is going to be challenging, because you're going to face a lot of overhead resistance, and you're also just going to have a lot of struggling type days. I think this morning we are opening a bit high. So obviously, trying to get above yesterday's topping tail. And this is a decent setup if we can break that topping tail with some volume. Basically just put yesterday's bears in a little bit of pressure. So let's see, Amazon. So Amazon had its 20-to-1. We've topped out for the time being at about 129. If we look at the option market, though, the thesis this week was there was a lot of activity at about 130. And that is still technically true. However, since we haven't really transacted much higher, we've got a lot of buildup at 125, along with, if we move down to maybe closer to the current price, about 120. So pretty much every $5 here on Amazon is going to have some value perspective to it. If I'm looking at this more from a pattern perspective, it is a rejection right now off the weekly 200. The bounce was nice. Obviously, the bullish behavior into the split was nice. Right now, we haven't really gotten back above a pretty major moving average. And this is still, in essence, a larger downtrend that is putting up a lower high. You also want to consider that the retracement size right now is still not amazing. We're looking at about a 38.2, which puts the bear flag still in contention. So we would need to break this high in order to really start to consolidate a bit more and not be at risk of another sell swing in the market. Apple, let's see. Apple's trading close to 150. I don't like trading Apple around 150. It's VPOC. It's where most transactions occur on Apple. It's going to be choppy around 150. I think you can trade it similar to the S&P on days where the market gaps down but gets bought up. Apple's going to be potentially quite strong. On days where the market is topping out and fades, Apple has potential to do so. But big picture, this is around the highest transactional node ever since we got into these price ranges. It's a very large relative node. And then our risk right now is that we have a pocket that pretty much got tested. And then we have larger transactional value much lower at about 125. So I personally don't like trading Apple around 150. I like to trade it when it moves away from 150 or trade it into 150 from a oversold, overbought condition. So to me, Apple just kind of looks like a lot of other S&P relative stocks. You look at something like a Microsoft, it's going to be, net choppy over the past couple of days. Microsoft, however, not necessarily at VPOC. Let's see. Do you think Tesla is a good candidate to be affected more so relatively by the jobless claims? Not more so than any other stock. Not really. NEO earnings. Obviously seeing some bullish behavior past couple of days. Let's take this off here. So relative low, coming off of a low with a lack of follow through. We've broken through one sell swing into this low. We're obviously trading a little bit higher. We're getting into our next one, and then we have sort of our absolute one. This is going to be our weekly high that we're going to try and break, potentially into earnings. Earnings right now showing about a $2 expected move, and I'm assuming that came out given the price volatility right now. So $2 expected move. We closed at about 20.50, looking for about 18.50 downside and 22.50 upside. So similar to other earnings names. ENPH, and that'll be our last one. Buying calls at the money safe. So this already moved quite a bit. We're talking about, at least from low to high, this has moved probably around 70 to 80%. We haven't really gotten much of a weekly pullback. So you want to be a little careful here, because what's starting to happen on these stocks is the price volatility tends to be quite high. And if you notice, there's this area of relative resistance as we're getting into the, I'll just call it the 225 region. This is where the price tends to top out, and we're already seeing a little bit of a fade on the weekly right now at this level. The lows here are also quite wide. I mean, we're coming down as low as 125, yeah, about 120, 125 on these stocks before bouncing. So what's been the play here has actually been, as wide as it is, it's still technically quite a bit of a range trade. Pull this up here. And you can see this definition here. The only thing that's a little odd is this big spike. But even this big spike brought us back to the lows of the range. So be a little careful here with buying long directional bias, because the pullbacks here have potential back to the lows. And what we would need to confirm a breakout here is to get above the pivot. And we haven't done that yet. So, your risk right now is that this is the top of this this bounce right now. So, all right. Well, that's pretty much it for today. So thank y'all. Trade safe for the rest of the week. Hopefully I'll feel much better next week, and stay tuned for pre-market prep with Carlos and Norm. As always, appreciate all the support, and yeah, we'll see how the market shapes up with the CPI data tomorrow. So keep all of that in mind. Be aware of the volatility, and then tomorrow we should see a little bit of a shakeup. So see y'all then. Talk to y'all next week.
All right. Good morning, my friends. Welcome to PreMarket Prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you guys are having a great day today. Part of my camera here, guys, we're doing some changes, and for some reason, my camera doesn't want to link now. But we will take care of that today for sure for tomorrow. All right, guys, let's get right to it. Let's look at our watch list. Yesterday, we had quite a bit. Hey, good morning, Norm. How you doing today? See you just
Hey, good
popped up
morning,
there.
buddy. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good, my friend. Doing good. All right, guys. Let's take a look at what we had on deck yesterday. Again, a bit of a sell-off. First, before we do that, let's just look kind of the overall spy, right? We kind of mentioned this, right? We might see some sideways action into those numbers come out, and we
Yeah,
definitely are seeing that as you see here, just sideways action between this range. Big gap up day 2 days ago, not gap up, big gap down. It's just a nice run up, and then yesterday gap down a little bit, and then a bit of a sell-off there. So just some sideways action, but
we're
we did get
stuck.
it. Yeah, yep. We did get a couple of stocks that did trade decent. Here's RDBX. Let's go into our action here on the daily. Had a good pre-market activity, guys. It was very active, but man, at the market open, I thought this would trade a little bit better, but you could see how choppy this thing was. It did not surprise me, but I really thought with the type of pre-market action they had yesterday, we were going to be getting some better activity at the market open. We didn't see that. Here's Neo, guys, as well. Again, great volume in the pre-market. Look at the drop. The initial drop, if you had like a 1 minute open range breakdown, or you were scalping this quickly, this could have been very good to you. After that, it just gets nasty, guys. Tries to get engulfing, it does not. Comes right back down. There was just nothing pretty about Neo or yesterday here. Here is Billy, better than most of the stuff we've seen so far, right? It got a nice little drop here. It does pull back to the VWAP, and if you're patient enough, you could have taken this for an open range breakdown, the 5 minute, or just a loss of VWAP here towards the lows of the day, and then a nice continuation. Does rebound nicely, guys, back to the VWAP, and then just kind of trends a little bit upwards the rest of the day. But nothing too exciting as far as that. Here's Nvax, and a lot of you guys called this out yesterday when it was starting to get going. Look at the weakness we saw yesterday. This thing was, it gapped up actually pretty big. You know, it gapped up huge. It was up like 8% around this area. And then it just gave it all back and then some. So at the market open, huge drop off there. Tries to get consolidated here, cannot. Another drop off down to 46. Eventually does recover nicely for a reversal back to VWAP, and then from there consolidates a little bit more, and then you're almost trying to get a high of the day here. You could not. You did hit that 51.90 we had on our daily levels there. Here's Roku, guys. This was probably the only one out of the few that we had on deck that actually was green. That actually stayed green somewhat in the after the bell. So this thing took off nicely here. It was able to get you a nice run from the first hour. From there, it got pretty choppy. Nice big drop here, so you gotta be careful with those. And then just kind of sideways action as many stocks did in the later parts of the afternoon. And here's Apple. I mean, although you did get this initial pop, I mean, it was just I don't know how you trade this. I mean, this is just up and down, every candle overlapping the previous one. There's just no sense of direction. Finally, at noon, you do get a loss of this 148, 149 level. That was 148.95. So that was nice. And then from there, back to some more chops. So we'll see how today goes. But again, that's kind of been what we are expecting into some information comes out. So let's go to the SPY. Norm, what's the latest and greatest there?
Yeah, right as we were coming on, we had initial jobless claims and continuing claims. Initial claims came in a little bit more than expected um, at 229,000. I see estimates, a couple of different estimates. Squawk said 210 was the consensus, but I'm seeing 195 as well. So I'm not sure which one of those is more accurate, but nevertheless, a little bit worse than expected. Kind of held the market. The market had been in a slide for the last half hour or so, and it kind of held steady there. And now it looks like it's maybe trying to tick down again. 408, 405 level on the SPY is really the one to look at. You can take a peek at that if you want to see what happens here if we hold this consolidation range. My guess, if I had to pull out my crystal ball for the day, and I could be very wrong, people could want to exit ahead of CPI data, but I think we're going to hold here at least until we get info tomorrow and see what happens with that inflation data. That's what everybody's waiting on and everybody's curious about.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
I mean, there's not a
Um,
whole lot going on our gappers except for, some a lot of China
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
There was some. earnings out of there. Neo, I believe Billy reported as well, if I'm not mistaken, this morning. And then some news on regulatory stuff, shutdowns, all those kinds of things. So.
All right, excellent. Sorry, guys, it's messing here with. I think I got it now. Okay, turned it on and off and connected some stuff, and looks like it's working now. All right.
Nice. I get to see
Yeah.
your beautiful beard.
There you go. Things are back to normal. All right, my friends. So yeah, guys, let's see what happens today. Again, I don't expect it to be anything overly exciting, but it will be once those numbers come out. Control A, Control X gets rid of that. Let's go ahead and look at our gappers list this morning. Right now, a couple of things in the green. Tesla up 2.7.
Interesting
That's
question before we get to that. I want to
Yeah.
answer this real quick. So
Sure.
Isaac is saying, what do they count as jobless? Am I jobless? Well, I don't know if you're jobless. Maybe you're jobless. It's if you claim employment insurance. So if you get laid off and you go down to your state, whatever, and you file for unemployment for the first time, that's what that is.
Yep. So yeah, that's definitely not good, and it's a pain in the butt too. It's a pain. All right, here it is, Tesla, guys. Let's go ahead and did I link my trade ideas? Yes, very good. So Tesla is up today, 2.7. Norm, any news? Because the overall market doesn't seem to be doing that, but they seem to be having a good time today.
Yeah, there was some. They reported some numbers out of what's going on in China, and they were up month over month. It had a lot to do with the lockdowns. On top of that, UBS in with an upgrade this morning from neutral to a buy rating and an $1,100 price target. So I think there was also what this used to move things when you heard Cathie Wood was buying stock or selling stock, it would move it. She's been so destroyed over the last 6 months or so, and I saw
Seriously,
a
yeah.
disturbing meme that we can't post in here, but
You're gonna have to private message me that later.
Yeah, I'll show it to you. But it was that she's. I think she said she was adding into Tesla, but I'm not 100%.
Gotcha. Tesla
No,
is
guys,
up.
I'll get kicked off Twitter if I tweet that or send that.
So here it is, guys. Tesla is looking decent this morning. We'll add them to the list today. Up 2.7, 1 million shares traded. Very good. I skipped on SIG usually because it doesn't trade very well. But let's see here. Up 9.1, 121,000. Signet Jewelers. Again, I seen this one before. Right now they had 128,000. Pretty spotty pre-market activity. The spread is actually it's not good. You got some really big
They had
gaps in
earnings
here.
this morning. I'm not. This
No.
pops up every once in a while. This is jewelry.
Yeah, no, it
Kay,
doesn't trade well.
Jared, Zales.
Oh, is this all of this here combined to this here? Yeah. All right, so yeah, not fun. Let's take a look over at Billy. What's gapping down this morning? Billy leading the way, man. Down 11.7. So again, a lot of Chinese tickers that were up. They were actually doing well yesterday. A lot of them gapped up pretty significant, and now giving it all back. So that's not fun. And Norm, the overall news in China is it the market, the regulators?
They had earnings. Actually, they reported their
okay.
losings this morning, and they had more losings than expected.
Gotcha. So here it is, guys. Billy definitely in play. I do like this one. It can trade very well. Today, 2.5 million, down 11.6. That is going to be fun. Neo down 7.8. Also pre-market. Okay, so all these have earnings. Did they all decide to kumbaya and do the earnings together? So Neo, it looks like pre-market
Neo had
earnings
earnings
as well. And that's not good. Down 8% here, 3.8 million. So Neo is definitely in play. We haven't seen that type of volume in Neo in some time. That's good. LBRT, no, we're going to go through these quickly. ARC, this was on our list yesterday. Look at the pop that it had a couple of days ago. The fun might be over on this. I'm just not a big fan of that. It's a low flow stock. And again, the sell-off here is not fun. If they can find a base and get back to 12, 11, 13, maybe that'll be interesting, but heading on the way down, I just don't want no part of that. Nvax, Nvax, big sell-off yesterday. This thing has a horrible daily, by the way. Just look how gappy and choppy it is. But it could be interesting to see, what that sell-off means for them today. They really gapped up and they just gave it all back. Not sure that's going to mean anything. Let's just keep it on there and see what happens. Here's Lee, and they did not have earnings yesterday, but I'm assuming a sympathy play here after seeing Neo get crushed.
Which one?
Lee Auto.
Yeah, I believe that's exactly what you got going on.
Yeah, and then we got XBEV here as well, which did not have earnings neither. Again, they're down slightly, but the story today is Neo, guys. Obviously, when it comes to that Chinese EV vehicle, that's the one taking the hit this morning. Maybe that's why Tesla is up. Tesla says, "Hey, you can't compete with us." I don't know. Here's JD, guys. JD down to 5.5 right now. Volume is good, 660,000. Again, all these down after gapping up. No news that I can see on this one. I'll put JD on the list here. Nvax, we looked at already. XPEC, we talked about. I like Neo better. PDD. XPEC could be a good secondary, though, right? So keep that in mind if you have space for that. PDD down 5.2. I like the volume on this. This had a couple of really good days towards the upside. Can we get some good action towards the bottom today? We'll see. Possible as well. PDD, we'll add that on there. Again, just heavy on that. That's a Chinese stock too, right? PDD, I believe.
Yeah.
So we're heavy on some Chinese stocks here today. Baba is also a whole lot of fun there, down 4.1. Look at the volume on Baba, guys, 7.5. Now I know there's a couple of block trades in there, of course, but still, that is really good volume today.
This isn't block trades. This is so there was news earlier that came out. I don't know if you remember, but Ant Group, which is a fintech, Chinese fintech company that kind of started a lot of the concerns on Chinese stocks and regulatory action a while back, was going to IPO, and they ended up having to pull that.
Yes, I remember that.
IPO.
Yeah.
There was a rumor this morning that China actually had restarted thinking about letting them do that. And then I think they came back 30 minutes later and said, no, or half an hour or hour and a half later and said, no, that's not the case. So that's why you get massive pop and then.
Yeah. Oh, man, talk about messing with the price action here. So Baba, guys, down 2.4, 4.2, 7.5 million. That is definitely looking nice there. Futu this morning, down 3.7. It's a good one, but I think there's better ones today. So I'm going to keep that one off the list. Here's Plug as well. They're down 3.1, 417. Their daily is slamming against the bottom of this consolidation. So that could be interesting if we're going to be losing that and going to be weak. We got some room to run here with a little of resistance towards the downside. So that could be nice there. Maybe a possible for Plug. Let's see what it does there. Plug was also, I saw some of you guys had it yesterday. Did it trade well at all yesterday? Actually, a better, much cleaner sell-off after a half hour than many of the other stocks that we had on deck and never really recovered. So that was actually pretty decent there.
They had some news yesterday and they got an upgrade, I believe. So.
All right, we'll see how that goes. Possible for now. ZIM, this is the one that gapped down, and look at the sell-off yesterday. This morning, I'm not sure how this is going to be, guys. The spread is not great on this $50 stock right now, down 2.2. I'm just not a fan of this at the moment, so we'll keep it off the list for now. All right, I think we have for what it is, not bad, but again, not great. We've seen better for sure. Let's take it to you, Norm. What do you have this morning that you like?
Frankly, not a whole lot. I mean, we've got what's on the list. I'm not looking at a whole lot of stuff. I'll probably take it easy today. As I mentioned, with that data out tomorrow, I expect some chop. And Melanie, over on YouTube, she's with us every morning. Tells me there's some people maybe jumping the gun here, aren't waiting for the data release. I agree with you. I mean, I think that's kind of what the sell-off we're seeing is right now.
Yeah.
But I think we'll be largely choppy until that, though.
Yep. All right, let's take it to the room, guys. What do you guys have this morning? Jason W. Carlos, that initial pop was a great unplug. On the morning yesterday, you're saying? Yeah, it looked like it was strong with some volume there. Yeah. NKLA. What do we have here? Also, did you guys catch yesterday the closing bell? If you did not, definitely check it out on YouTube. Jason was on and he was talking about his for some of you guys know him as Poppy. Choppy Poppy is what you call him.
Poppy.
So definitely check it out. Some really good information. It's great to hear from other traders and how they're doing. So definitely check that out. All right, here NKLA guys, not looking too good at the moment. I think it's pretty flat. I think we have better opportunities. This one, out of all the stocks that we've been looking at, they haven't been as great as like a Neo, as like an XPEF. So I'd rather watch those than this NKLA, to be honest. So I'm gonna keep it off my list. Option for options call. Okay, Albert. Yeah, I'm not sure how the options look, but yeah, if maybe Billy, we have on deck. That is good. We also heading on down here. Amazon for sure. How is Amazon trading? How did it trade yesterday? AMZN. I didn't keep it on my list yesterday. So pretty much sideways. Yeah, they're down 1.1 million shares trade. So they got the volume. I think it's worth watching Amazon today. Keeping it on the list. We don't have a lot to watch, so maybe this could be a good one to see how things are going to move there. Dropping at the moment, I believe. Over on YouTube, Jose is giving us AUVI. So AUVI applied UV here up almost 50%, 7 million shares traded, more of a lower not penny stock, but lower price stock, really low price stock, trying to get going here. So yeah, this could be interesting. What's the float on this, by the way? AUVI. AUVI. 6 million. Yeah, it's got to be very careful. I don't like these lower price. I want them above 5 at times, but it is in play. If this is your cup of tea here, guys, definitely it's got it going this morning. So yeah, C strat, the pump and dump. It could be. It could be. I mean, unless they have a strong catalyst, people just some weak catalyst, then people jumping in on the wagon here. You got to be very, very careful. You really do, especially with a low flow like that. And the price, this low price like that does attract a lot of pump and dump situations. So you got to be very careful. Indigenous Pathways, yes, closing bell is amazing, and it's only going to get better, guys. That we have seen the lineup of people that are going to be coming on, plus all the stuff that already has planned for it. You definitely want to keep an eye on that. I think Doc, you might pick up later with earnings, maybe after earnings. When is the earnings for Docu? And they usually don't trade very well to begin with. So they'll need some kind of movement in their catalyst. Right now they're down 1.234,000.
Earnings are after the bell. I'd wait until I
Yeah.
see what it is myself.
Yeah. I'm not sure if Ed is trading today after earnings. Usually does. This might be on his list. It's one of the more popular tickers, but we'll have to see how it trades. All right, let's head. Ben, you're giving us Facebook and Meta. We'll do a few more. Let's see Facebook here. But why does it look like this? No volume whatsoever on Facebook. Is my charts right? They usually have something. Not completely blank. So I don't see anything happening here. Oh, they changed to Meta. They finally did the move. So let's go to Meta. What do we have here? 95,000. Okay.
Nothing there.
Yeah. Nothing to see. Just a name change. But yeah, still not looking good for the most part. But thanks for that. It's now Meta. Perfect. All right, let's see what else, guys. One more here. Snap pre-market volume looks interesting.
I remember Meta World Peace.
Of course. How you cannot? Oh man, that guy was a character, I tell you. And the name was just amazing. Snap here, guys, pretty much flat right now. The volume, yeah, but this volume here, this 2.1. I mean, you're not seeing that pre-market activity here. So I don't know how significant that's going to be. We'll have to wait for the market open. I mean, this thing, a huge drop a couple of weeks ago. Trying to hold here. We'll have to see what it does. Maybe if it hits the scanners, let's see if that volume is going to bring in more volume at the market open that can actually be tradable. So right now, I don't see a whole lot. That 2.1, definitely some block trades because I don't see anything happening on the actual price action for the pre-market this morning. All right, we're set, guys. Let's go ahead over to our community events and announcements, and then we'll come back. And not a whole lot of fine tuning we have to do to this list because it's pretty light so far this morning.
Yeah, brother. Just a reminder, every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, the onboarding session and technology with Carlos, available to everybody, including trial members. Tech webinars, guys. Next Monday's changing. It's going to be a DAS Trader Pro Q&A, and then the following week, not the following week, the week after that, because the following week is the new market holiday for Juneteenth, and it will be closed. But the week after that will be that bookmap part 2. And then Peter with Rising Devil, Fallen Angel. I believe he's joined by Brian next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Now, what these slides are? Something's weird here, dude. I apologize. I just noticed that these are not correct. Something's awry. Can you go to the site instead? These dates are off.
Yeah, I don't know why it keeps reverting back to that same one. So I got to figure that out in the system. Usually once we upgrade it, it'll stay like that. But for some reason, it's reverting back to that one over and over again.
Okay.
We'll get that fixed.
Sorry, it takes me a minute to get into it because that first one is still the
first one is somewhat right, yeah.
All right. There we go. As I mentioned. All right. So next Tuesday is Peter. I believe he will be joined by Brian. And that's at 8 p.m. The Rising Devil, Fallen Angel strategies that they trade. Then the week following will be Andrew doing a 1-minute opening range breakout discussion. Psych for, scroll down, brother. Psychology, for whatever reason, doesn't have it for today. I believe it's created this evening at 5 p.m. Eastern. This is Thursday. I'm losing it. Man, I'm sorry. I'm off. Go back. So next Wednesday, 8 p.m. will be Mike talking about finding your trading why. Then mentorship today. See, I'm on now. Today with John at 11. Ed at 4. Maybe he can trade DocuSign for you and then do mentorship at 4:30. Thor, 8 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, Dan, I need more coffee. That's for sure. All right. Can you go to the homepage as well, Carlos? If you go to the homepage, if you're watching on YouTube, haven't been in the chat, and you want to be around all day with people that can speak and think more clearly than I can right now, go to bearbulltraders.com, scroll down about halfway down the page, and you will see this membership table, that one on the far left, intro, $39. If you'd like to try out the room, you can do so with no commitment. Just use the promo code PreMarket24. It'll get you a discount off it. 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the room. Does not auto-renew or renew at all. So you would actively, after that's over, you have to go choose a different membership category. And right now, if you take advantage of the Elite Annual Membership, you get access to all the webinars. You also get a free one-on-one coaching session with Dr. Reed.
All right, guys. Thank you very much, Norm. All right, perfect, guys. Let's get to it here. We do have some levels to go to. We have a little bit of time, too, a little bit early. So if you have any questions, throw them on there, and we can get to them as well. Just 1 second here. Just got to respond to there. Okay, perfect. All right, excellent. So let's take a look here, guys. We got Billy, we have Neo, we have Baba, and we have Amazon all gapping down this morning. So that's looking good, especially Neo just getting a crush this morning. So that looks good. And then here we are looking at Amazon as well, looking very nice with some good volume. Secondary list, we have PDD, we have Nvax, JD, and Plug. Again, very heavy on the Chinese tickers this morning. But that's what's hot. That's what's going on today. So we'll take advantage of that. Arvin, we do have Baba on deck. I think it's a good one for today. I love the volume on it. They do have a catalyst, as Norm mentioned earlier before. So yeah, I'm excited about that one because this can trade very well when it gets the volume. It traded amazing yesterday. And today is probably going to be hopefully it's going to be another good day of trading on some of these Chinese tickers. Baba and Neo leading the way here as far as what I like this morning. Billy, I love the volume and the drop is good, but we'll see how much that's going to trade. I mean, this thing was up at 30.33 is the high of the pre-market, down to 25.35. So that is good there. All right, excellent, guys. Do we get to levels? You guys have questions? What can we look at? Any news on Neo or generated CN? No, they had earnings last night. No, sorry, earnings pre-market. So that's big news for them. They're not having fun with that. So the earnings this morning, and you're seeing the reflection on that right now. So they did not do well. So the exact header is the shares trading lower Thursday. The company reported financial results, issued guidance below analyst estimates, which again I think that's expected, right? I mean, it's like sometimes things act like it's a big surprise, but didn't we expect that things were not going to be good for a lot of these companies the way the market is? It's just insane. How does a jobless claim affect the market? Well, it does, because you see, everything is about expectation and guidance looking forward. So every time you have, they expect this number, the market prepares for that. When you're far away from that, towards the downside, obviously, is going to affect the market a certain way. It'll try to build in some of that, right? Some of that will be built in already, because you kind of know if things are bad or good, somewhat. But if it's really far off, the market is going to react to it, right? So both ways, negative or positive. But right now, I think we're waiting for some bigger data that's going to be released soon, tomorrow, I believe, right? Is that tomorrow? Do we know what time tomorrow? So I think that is going to, help the SPY decide what are we doing next year. So I think that's going to be more important than a lot of the data that's being released now. But for NEO, for this specific catalyst today, they're taking a hit here, down 7.7. All right. All right, let's get to levels. Let's do Billy. Billy this morning literally stuck between the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days, right on here. As far as levels, pre-market highs, your high from yesterday, you're set there. Below this, you do have 29.28 around there, highs and lows for the last 2 trading days. You have something at 27.18, so I'm going to slam a level there. That's good. And then if we go to the left here, the price action is sitting right at a level 2. I'm going to mark that. Yeah, I think that's an important level to have on deck. So if you look at the price action now, sitting at 25.80, right? If you look at that price action there, it might be slightly above it, maybe 26 actually, it might be actually 26. You can see a couple of days here, in here, and here as well. Bouncing off that, slamming against that. So that's going to be a good level to have on there. Pre-market, you're seeing some action already around there. Not big, but here you're starting to see even more of it, right? Between that 26 and 25.80. So I think that's going to be a good one to have on deck. And now if we look towards the bottom there, guys, we're going to go all the way down to 24.20. So we'll slam a level there. That's good. And then right here, I don't think we'll get here because we sold off pretty aggressive already. We sold off 13%. How much more can this thing go down? I don't think we'll get to 21.95 unless the wheels fall off completely. That can definitely happen here. So we have that there. And just in case, I know depending on how you trade, if you trade on a smaller time frame, you might want to have tighter levels. This is a level here that is more of a not a major level, but a possible. It's around $23 there. You can see a couple of days bouncing off of that as well, right? So that's good. Let's head over to NEO this morning. NEO at the moment, again, beautiful pre-market activity, very, very active, guys. Not good earnings for them, not good guidance. From what I'm seeing, I haven't dug into any of the details. You have a 1753, good level there on the daily. Look how beautiful that area of resistance right on there. Again, the more days you have slamming up against something, the stronger that level is going to be, right, on the daily. So towards the bottom, we have another one right over here, not as strong as that 1753. And then down here as well, you have another one, which is nice, 1635, because this seems to be like the range you had here for a couple of days in the end of April. So that is nice there. And then you see us a little bit of resistance here before we had a nice little breakout. So getting crushed right now, down at 8.3 and looking to go lower at the moment if it cannot hold this low of the day. Between the pre-market price now and the highs of the last 2 trading days, right, which would be here, highs of the last 2 trading days, pre-market action right now where the price is now, which is also the low of 2 trading days ago. In here, you do have a nice level right over here around 19.27. I'm going to slam a level there because you can clearly see at some point here in end of April as well, you had a couple of days, kind of bouncing off of that. So that's good. And look how clear in the you could have just went to the pre-market and see how clear that resistance is right there across the board. Look at the breakout with some nice volume there, could not hold it, right back down. So 1927, you definitely want to have that on there as well. Let's take a look at BABA today. BABA, 7.8 million shares traded. I like this one this morning, probably one of my favorites because I know how well they can trade when they got this type of volume. Low of the pre-market 113.40, high of the pre-market 127.72. Hold on a second, guys. I'm sure my volume clipping here, so I'm putting it down a little bit. Want to make sure I'm not blowing out your ears. And then 127.72 is the high of the pre-market. Towards the bottom, guys, highs and lows for the last 2 trading days right on here. So that's looking pretty decent. Now let's go to the left here because we do have some resistance right over here. March, April timeframe, right in this area. Let's see if we can get some good levels off of here. No, we have it. 113.40 is good. You have the previous day close up here. That's good. And then in here, I like this one here, 116.45 as well. You got several days within the bigger range, right? This is the bigger range, obviously, right? We have those levels marked down. You want to put a lot of weight on those because you can see that it's being respected as well this morning. Look at that 113.40. That's being respected. And then the previous day close, you know, is the king of all levels. So you definitely want to have that on there. But in here, you can see many days slamming against that opening, closing right around that 116.45. I think that would be decent to have as a minor level. You know, put a little bit less weight on that, but you still want to have that on your list. All right, heading down to Amazon. Good volume today. Look at the drop we're getting here, down 1% now. Love the pre-market is going to be in 119.54. Below that, very clean level here over at 115.57. Does not get cleaner than that. And then obviously all the way down at 101. I don't think we'll get there today. And then here it gets a little bit messy, but if you just look closely, that 108, just look how many touches we have on that, both of support and resistance. I think that's a good one to have on there just in case we do decide to drop. I don't think that's going to happen on Amazon today. Pre-market looking very good, very active. Towards the top, guys, plenty on here, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. On the way down here, guys, look out for 19, 18, 17. Of course, those whole dollar numbers can play a part as the market is dropping. But if I look at the most recent daily activity within that range that we just looked at, 119, 115, I don't see anything significant here as far as levels, right? There's no daily here as far as showing some areas that we can mark down some level support and resistance. You might be able to go into this day here and a couple of these two and see in that intraday action, do you get an area where they consolidated and that can become a level, you know, in between that gap there. But for the most part, I don't see anything that looks significant there. Possibles PDD, guys, good volume this morning. Maybe I'll add this to my list. I left a little bit of space here because I wanted to not have a list of the same area of Chinese companies, Chinese tickers, kind of, you know, spread the love a little bit, but there's nothing else going on right now. We will definitely look at our favorites and anything else you guys have this morning. So we'll look at Apple in a second. We'll look at Nvidia. We'll look at AMD and see what's going on there. Snap. We looked at Snap. They got volume, but that's about it. Did it get any better? Yeah. So, and what we found out is, right, well, I didn't find out, but you guys found out, so thank you for sharing this, is that when DAS does not show the volume here, because clearly you add this up, that is not going to amount to 2.1 million shares traded. So the answer to that was that those might be block trades that are just being recorded from last night. They just don't have a timestamp here. That is the answer I got. Don't quote me on it. It's a third-party answer, so you know third-party stuff I'm not responsible for. But that's the answer we got. So to me, that doesn't really show a great pre-market activity for them this morning. And I cannot tell you if this is going to amount to anything, right? It's a lot of shares. But again, I'm not sure that's going to amount to any type of good activity this morning. So, you know, we'll do this. Let's do a little study on it. We will put it on here and we will see how it does today. See if that even means anything for them, right? Let's see if we see something out of the ordinary trading for Snap this morning. Carlos, did we take a look at Tesla? No, yeah, Tesla was the only one that was green on our list. Thank you so much. I will scroll down here for some reason, but yeah, Tesla's the only one that's green today on here. They're up 2.5. So they're looking good this morning. Let's get levels for that. Towards the bottom, 735.03 is the low of the pre-market. And then towards the top, we do have, what do we have here? We have 774.24 and we have 792. So a couple of levels towards the top there on Tesla, stuck between the highs and lows right now from the last 2 trading days, previous day close. So we'll see if this thing can break out. Good pre-market activity right now. At the moment on Tesla, we're getting some good movement on it. Let's see how that turns out. But yeah, so we got Tesla, Billy, NIO, Baba, and Amazon today. All right. Anything else you guys like? Any questions that we might be able to take a look at? Doesn't that always happen at 8? 3PO, yes, before, and it still does. It still does. At 8 p.m., 8:30, even earlier times, you might see a huge block trade here, right? And also sometimes right at the open at 4 a.m., you might see some big block trade volume and no movement. But on DAS, and I have not seen this before, it started happening probably a couple of months ago. You are now getting these numbers, right? For example, look at Baba, even Baba. This, I don't think this amounts to 7.8. I could be wrong. Actually, no, that might be close. That might be close. But if you look at a snap for sure, this 19,000 here, right? 19,000. Look at this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you want to be nice, that's not going to give you 21 million. I mean 2.1 million. That's not nowhere near that. So that volume is volume that's showing there, but that's got to be some block trades are not being transacted this morning. And what I care about is it creating price action, right? So for example, Neo's volume 4.6, that's creating price action movement, right? They could have, a 7 million shares here traded. And if it's only one block trade, it's not creating price action, doesn't matter to us. We don't care about this. This is what we care about. Our, retail traders, our individuals, trading this stock and watching it today. And obviously today they definitely are watching this stock, and not just retail traders, right? You got big guys in here, big firms as well trading this. This is not just all retail. There's definitely some big numbers there in the pre-market. All right, here we go. What else do we have, guys? Let's take a look at Apple. Apple today, one of our favorites this morning, up 1.3. They are pretty much flat right now. It's really just right below the previous day close. Not a whole lot going on, but it's a good one to keep an eye on, as you guys know, depending on the market, the cues. Look at the SPY yesterday. Although we're in this range, right? We're kind of stuck in this range, which we expect until some data comes out. You got some pretty good moves that came out of this here and here. We're going from the top of the range to the bottom, from the bottom to the top. So you're seeing some really good movement, although we are stuck within this range. So we're at the bottom of this range now, kind of in midpoint here. So again, yes, we're in a choppy situation, big picture, but you can still get some really good moves on some stocks in here. So we'll see how that goes. Apple, let's go back to that 1.3, pretty much flat right now. I mean, as far as levels, you're set here. Previous day close, last 2 trading days are on there. As for highs and lows. And then here we have 145, 145.47. Yeah, 145.47. Couple of days in there, that's good. And then it's just smack in the middle right now. So yeah, I think Apple's a good one to keep an eye on. You can also look at, I'm just going to put Apple today. You can also look at AMD. We can look at Nvidia, but Apple looks the prettiest right now, that's for sure. So I'll keep an eye on Apple today. I saw somebody point out Oxy. Who was that? Sorry if I missed it, but I do recall somebody in chat and on YouTube also mentioned Oxy. So let's go ahead and look at Oxy this morning. What do we have? Oh, yes. Oxy here is losing this 69 level. That could be very, very interesting, guys. Previous day closed at 68.90. Yeah, Oxy's nice. I like Oxy. And this volume here is not bad. Remember, Oxy doesn't get great volume pre-market. So this is actually pretty decent so far this morning. We've seen Oxy do nothing in the pre-market and trade very, very well. I think one of those days they had this, I think it was this one right on here, just based on the hammer candle, right? They sold off all the way down and just beautifully came right back up, like literally a V reversal on Oxy here, which again, created a lot of opportunity because we're going from 71 to 68, from 68 back up to 71. That was pretty nice. Pretty nice. Good, really, really good day there. All right, coming up on 9:10, guys. Moderators are coming up with their list. Stores first in. He's got his list ready to go. We'll look at that in a second. Our list right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One too many levels for Oxy because I think it looks interesting this morning. Obviously, you're looking at this today. This is your level here, the 669, what is it, 69 on the Dow or 69, 68.50, whatever it is. This is the level you want to keep an eye on. That is, we have some incredible support here for the last, 2-3 weeks. So that is nice there. And then that was also prior to this, that was great resistance for this stock. So that's going to be good to see how we're going to break down from that this morning. Towards the bottom, if we look here, we do have 66, 69. So we'll slam a level there, and then heading down towards the bottom, we obviously got the big level here, which we had a lot of resistance. Remember that we couldn't get above this for quite some time. Eventually, last month we were able to break out of this and create a new range there. Look at you. Let's get you blocked. There you go. Take that. No, here, spam my chat. You crazy? You out of your mind? There you go. It's just been deleted for no reason. Smart guy. All right. Let's see here. So then right there above that 62, 66, we're going to put in here 65, 14, 65, 14. Good level there. And I think you're all set. I got a lot on here. I don't think we're going to get down to 62, 66. That's a long way to go. But I like this level because we know how well we play with that in the past. They're trying to get above that. So I definitely want to have that on deck. All right, guys, I think we're pretty much set here. Everything looks good. Let's go to our moderators lineup. Did you guys all go green? Did our moderators all go green, or was it always like that? Interesting. And when I say by that is, let me show you. Let me bring this over. As I'm doing this, guys, over on YouTube, hit that thumbs up for Jared coming on early in the morning, 8 a.m. Even though he's not feeling well, you know, he did push through it and got us some good information. So thank you for that very, very much. And then also, if you're enjoying the content right now, we appreciate a thumbs up. It helps us out a whole lot. Here it is, guys. So everybody's green this morning. I never noticed that, but looks like Thor, Baba, Billy, Spy, and Neo. Secondary list, the Pivot Alert Bot. So take a look at that. You can follow that on Twitter, by the way, if you're not doing so already. Here we have Dima's looking at Oxy, Baba, Apple, and Snap. Peter, no IPOs and no SPACs for today. And then Thor is also adding LI to his list as well. Peter's list: AMD, Baba, Oxy. Secondary list: Apple, Twitter, and Meta. So he's got those going for him today, this morning. So all right, we'll see who else comes up with a list here. For the most part, I think we're looking pretty good. I think it's going to be a good day today. And when I say good, I'm not talking about green. This can go either way. It's a lot of red on the screen right now. Besides Tesla, a lot of things on the downside this morning. All right, here is the man himself, Brian. And guys, if you haven't done so already, definitely pick up his book. I have it right over there. It is available on Amazon, Profiting as an Active Day Trader. So definitely check that out and enjoy that. I'm sure it's going to be good. I haven't got to it yet, but just got it yesterday. I'm sure it's going to be a very fun read. So he's looking at Billy, Tesla, Neo 5, and SIG this morning. And we are all set. We're good to go, guys. 9:13. Wait for see anybody else has anything, and then we will call it a day over on YouTube. Thank you guys for joining us this morning. We will be back on tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow is Friday. Well, let me make sure. Yes, tomorrow is Friday. So Jared will not be on. We start our show at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. So Anthony, you like the new look? Yeah, we went black on here, a little bit cleaner, and then towards the bottom, we're gonna get rid of this thing here. Where you see the charts for S&P, NASDAQ, and Dow Jones. We're going to get rid of that. Just got to think what we can fit there. So if you have any ideas, let me know. We're going to get rid of that because this is actually delayed where I'm getting it from. It is not from this morning. So that is going to go away. We'll figure out what to do with that real estate. But yeah, guys, if you guys have any feedback for the show, the layouts, we would love to hear it. Send it over to me, carlos@bearboytraders.com. We can't please everybody. We can't do everything. But once in a while, there's some good stuff that we can actually do, and we'll definitely do it. Last one on the list here, Chewy. What's this? Chewy's getting some interesting pops. Chewy, yeah, 37,000 just dropped 5 minutes ago. So yeah, that could be interesting here. We'll have to see where that goes. But the value, yeah, now it's populating. At first, it only showed 5,000, but now it's populating. Okay, very good. All right, guys, thank you so much. We are all set. Brian is up next, trading live with Andrew, and we will be going here. Carlos, will scanners not be available from now on or just today? So the scanners will be available. The minute I log off here, those scanners will pop on, right? So the sign up here, as soon as I get off this, and actually I'll do it now, I'm going to go ahead and exit my trade ideas or log off. And once I do that, the scanners on the other thing will populate. So just give it a few minutes, a minute or two, and then those will be activated. All right, guys, thank you very much. Take care, trade safe, hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you today at 3:30 over on YouTube, and also our members will see you at 3:30 with closing bell, and then tomorrow at 8:30. Take care, guys.